Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rooted Pelvic Yoga Therapy. This is class 1 of 3, May 1, 2023. So we've got a 3-week cycle for this sequence that we're introducing today. And we're moving with a little bit of a contralateral or cross-lateral theme. So we're going to be doing some twists. If you'd like to have a yoga strap nearby, grab that. You might also want to have your bolsters, blankets, and things situated for our final rest. Okay. So starting on our back, I'm going to take a little windshield wiper side to side. And we're going to do what for some of you will feel like review with the pouring and one leg pressing that we did last month. So little nice, easy roll side to side first. Acknowledging how the weight shifts across the back of the pelvis. So one hip gets heavy, and then we roll through the sacrum into the other hip, grounded or firmly planted into the mat. And the next time the knees go to the right, pause there. So the right leg, right thigh is turned out. Let that leg rest passively into the ground. And start to feel how there's maybe a little length or stretch sensation through your abdomen, maybe from the left hip up to the left shoulder. And we're going to exacerbate that or elongate that more. Elongate is maybe a better word than exacerbate. So pressing the big toe of left foot into the floor, you're going to reach the knee across the room. Reaching the knee for the baseboard trim across the room and pressing into the left foot. And then I feel a greater connection or stretch through the waist, low back, rib cage on that left side. So I'm really letting my left shoulder melt into the ground while my thigh is reaching long across the room out through the knee. And check in with the right side. Is my right butt cheek still passive? It's often common that it wants to clench, it wants to help. But see if you can differentiate that. Left side active through the glute. Right hip melting, melting, melting. Big breath in. 3, 2, 1. And slowly melt the left hip. Send the left femur back into the hip socket. Roll through the sacrum. And across the sacrum into the left side. So legs go to the left. Now you've got left thigh turning out. Left side into the floor. Feel whatever connection or sensation you've got through the waist up to the right shoulder. Maybe you feel zero stretch here. Maybe you already feel some. And then engaging hip extension with the right side. You're going to press big toe side of the right foot into the floor. So driving right foot down, hip forward or up. And imagine, oh, how long could my thigh be? Could I reach my right knee across the room? And continue melting the right shoulder. So you feel that connection all the way up through the rib cage. Big breath in through the nose. And then release the right hip back to the floor. Femur head back into the socket. We're kind of melting down through the hip creases to find center. Good. Nice. Find your yoga strap. If you have a metal buckle, I like to take hold of that metal buckle so that I know it's not going to lasso around and get me. And taking the ball of the right foot up into the strap. Good. Good, good, good. So from there, dropping down through the hip crease. If you want to use your right hand to encourage that hip flexor to let go. Feel free to give yourself a little pressure or massage down through the top of the thigh. That the leg can come deeper into the stretch, not by hip flexor tension or gripping, but by the opposite. Drop the hip crease down, allowing the femur head to roll in the socket for the thigh to come closer. Good. Once you've got a comfortable amount of stretch sensation, take a little opening and crossing of the leg. Little bit of movement away from center and across center. Start small so you feel like both shoulders, both hips are still grounded. And the next time that you cross, trade to the opposite hand. So I've got right foot to left hand with the strap. I'm going across the midline of my body. So I get a stretch down the outside of my leg and hip. Some of us will feel it more in the piriformis and glute. Some of us might feel it more in the lower leg compartment, like the side of your calf. There's no right or wrong. Your body's going to feel it where you feel it. Good. Still melting that right shoulder for grounding, for support. Good. Nice. And then ease out from there. Back to parallel. We're going to bend the knee. You can take the strap off or keep it. So if a quad stretch feels challenging, you can keep the strap and just roll to that left side. Or take the strap off and you're going to catch the ankle or top of the right foot as you roll to your left side. And that same hip drive is important here. So the foot presses back to your hand while your right hip drives forward. Feeling that length through the quad, the front of your thigh. If you're getting any pinchiness or discomfort in your lower back, feel how as the hip presses forward, you can scoop into the lower belly connection. Find that rib to pelvis connection like we did in Boost. Good. And then take a moment, pause. If you want a visual, take a peek first. We're releasing the quad stretch, send the right leg forward in space. So my right foot is on the floor. I'm going to turn a little bit. So I've just come out of my quad stretch. My right leg comes back to the front. I'm going to reach across to the pinky edge of that foot. And then take hold of my other foot for a quad stretch on the left. So you're on your left side. Right leg is crossed in front. You can use a blanket for your head support if you need one. And I'm grabbing with my left hand, I'm grabbing pinky side of my right foot. If that feels like enough, like, oh, hello, right booty, maybe you just stay there. If it works to take hold of your left foot, you're going to sweep that thigh back into a quad stretch. Actively pressing the hips forward so you feel engaged and supported. And if you're taking that quad stretch with the right hand, let that right shoulder roll back into the floor. You get a little extra bonus of twist. Nice deep breath in and out. Let it go slowly. See if you can do it without any momentum, no twingy twangy. Slowly release. You can melt onto your side body or roll to your back. Just give yourself a moment to come out of those shapes, out of the twist, back to a neutral orientation. Maybe a little weeble wobble, shake out with the legs. Good. So far, so good. Any questions? Thumbs up? Cool. It's a little bit of a pretzel. We tend not to get super pretzely around here, but we're going for it today for hip mobility because it's just so juicy once we figure out how to get into that last one. I find it to be one of my favorite stretches because it just gets so many different areas and you get the chest opening of the twist. Okay, so let's do side 2. We've got our strap. We're going to go left foot this time. So the ball of the left foot has your yoga strap. You can bend and straighten a little bit to get situated. Start to gauge how much stretch sensation you want. We talked last month about using the quadriceps to extend the knee fully. You can work with that still if that's good for you or different for you. And again, dropping into deep, soft, squishy hip flexor. Might feel counterintuitive, like, well, I should work to bring my leg closer to my belly. Well, not necessarily. Right? The quadriceps at the knee helps you extend the knee, but at the hip, drop down. Send that side of your pelvis back into the floor. Maybe visualizing how the femur head, that ball and socket joint of your hip, is going to roll and settle into the socket to bring the leg towards your nose. Good. Last big breath in and out. You need to scale back maybe 5%, so a little less intensity. And then small movement of the leg across and open. And I do mean small. If my parallel was 12 o'clock, I'm only going to like 10:30 and 1:30 or 11:30 and 1:30. So little movement of the leg back and forth. That's stimulating for our circulation. There's a little bit of a pumping action into the groin. It's also geared towards nerve gliding, nerve flossing. So healthy for all those pelvic nerves that branch out down into the back of the leg. And then intentionally now cross midline. You can take opposite hand to the strap. My left hip is still grounded. And again, where you feel it is where you feel it. Maybe it's more lower leg and ankle. Maybe it's outer thigh, IT band sort of sensation. Maybe it's all the way down into the piriformis and the hip. Big exhale. And then come back to parallel. Good. If you want to keep your strap for your quad stretch, bend your knee. Keep hold of the strap, but bend the knee, and you're going to roll to your right to sweep the thigh behind you. Strap or no strap, you decide. And just like we did from the windshield wiper one-sided press, you're going to deliver hips forward. So rather than belly out, hips back, where then I feel a pinchiness in my back, I'm going to actively drive the left hip forward in space to sweep my thigh back. And that also helps me connect upwards through the low belly support, abdomen, ribs to pelvis kind of connection. Nice full breaths in and out through your nose. If it's helpful, double check that your heel is coming right to the center of your buttock or towards your sit bone. So if it wants to come more to the outside of the hip, see if you can swivel the foot around behind you. It's a little more direct route for the quad, less torque for the knee. Not bad to do it the other way, but just depends on what your outcome is that you want. Good, and then slowly release left foot. We're going to sweep the leg forward. So now left leg's in front of my body, my foot's on the floor. I'm going to reach with my right hand to take hold of the pinky side of that right foot. And if that means that you hug the leg in towards your belly, that's okay, right? In order to reach the foot, you might need to flex the knee and hip a little bit more. Once you're there, kind of check in like, okay, maybe that's enough. I feel that enough in my left hip, I'm just gonna pause there. Or maybe you want to reach left hand to right foot. Once you've taken hold, bring the right thigh back to the floor and roll the left shoulder back into the floor. So you come into that twist for your upper body. And again, I'm really actively engaging my hips. So my bottom hip, right hip, I'm driving forward, almost like I'm pressing my knee down into the floor. So that glute's engaged to help support me in the quad stretch. My left knee is gently pressing up towards the ceiling, pressing into external rotation. Nice deep breath in and out. Can stay longer if you desire to stay longer. And when you discern it's time to come out, see if you can do it slowly, no momentum, no big jerking movements, just nice and melty. Discern, do I want to rest on my side? Do I want to go on my back? With Beltane, that midway point of spring equinox into summer solstice, we're working on some twists. And I'm visualizing it like, okay, the last sludge of winter, the kapha, muddy, cold, dampness of spring, like, can we get that to move so it doesn't become too stagnant, too lethargic, too damp and cold in our system, but we're inviting a little bit of fire, a little bit of transformation into this next season. So to finish up, we're going to go towards tabletop. Good. Nice. So then from tabletop, I'm going to take my, let's do right arm up and over. Big ol' inhale. And then 3 times go under and then retreat back into the opening. So don't come right into your thread the needle. Go back and forth a few rounds. So feeling the reach upwards and then dive the fingertips under across the floor. Reach that arm across the floor before you come down. And just settling in, checking in. Does my neck feel good? Are my hips actually centered? It's common that our hips will do that typewriter shift across. So make sure both knees are bearing weight. Both thighs are supporting you. And the right arm that's underneath me, I'm actively pressing the back of my palm into the floor. Okay, some of us might stay there or come out back into child's pose. If you're feeling comfortable and want to add on, you might reach left hand forward, sliding left hand out along the mat. Big breath in, maybe left arm sweeps up for the ceiling. Keep pressing back of the right hand down into the floor. Maybe a bind behind your back, tucking the left arm in. Last big breath cycle. If you have the bind or the left hand tucked in, slowly release left arm, bring the hand right in front of your face, back to the floor. And then root down through the legs and the left hand to come out. Take a moment through tabletop, a little wiggling, cat-cowing, maybe child's pose or table rocking. You may be wondering, well, the hip stretches felt good, but how is this thread the needle thing related to pelvic yoga therapy? Right? And our breathing and our thoracic spine health and mobility is hugely important for our hips to be able to do their job and not have to pick up the slack of other parts of the body. Okay, so we're making sure that the T-spine and upper body can also rotate well. So when you're ready, from table, we go 3 times with the left arm, opening, maybe eyes up, and then reach through and across coming towards the floor, but again, retreat back the way you came. Let it be in motion a few rounds. When you're ready to dive through, reach all the way across. Actively press the left hand into the floor. And again, notice if your hips kind of passively shifted into that right side. If so, bring a little weight back into the left knee. So you feel like you have weight bearing through both thigh bones, down through both shins, both knees. Good. The ear, jaw, side of your face is not very weight bearing. We're really actively driving left hand into the floor. Maybe right hand reaches forward. Maybe right hand goes to the ceiling or then turns in, tucks behind your back. Finishing your exhalation. Then slowly release right arm up and out. Inhale, bringing the hand right in front of your nose. Root down through both legs and the right hand to come out. And again, let yourself have a little snake-like movement to come out of the effort of that thread the needle. Move in any way that it feels welcome, warming, kind, juicy, releasing. Good. Now we've done this thread the needle twist from kneeling from tabletop. You have the option to move into a small inversion from there. If for whatever reason kneeling is not working for you, you can also go onto your back and have your hips up on a bolster for supported bridge. Okay, so the goal here is some kind of upside downness, a little bit of an inversion, so that we're letting the pelvic floor have a break. The inversion is going to let the viscera, the organs, come away from that support of the pelvic floor so they can actually rest, breathe, get circulated, okay? So I'm going to use a bolster kind of under my chest so that from tabletop, when I come down, I have a place to support my chest, and then my forehead is resting into my hands. And we're trying to align ourselves so that the femurs, the thigh bones, are vertical. The little bonus that you're on Zoom, if you need to check out your geometry, you can take a peek in your video tile. So it's common that when we bring our chest down, the hips will slide forward, and then we're not actually vertically aligned with the femurs. So you want to try to have pelvis right above your femur and your knee. And then letting your body, your torso, rest or drape or hang into the bolster, into the floor. Breathing deeply. So the inhale is sending breath in. We get that same 360 expansion to send the breath towards the pelvis. And then gravity helps you exhale. The inversion helps you fully empty, fully relax. Feeling that sort of offloading of the effort or weight of the pelvic organs, letting them drape back into the belly. If you're comfortable how you are, that's great. If you want to explore a little more nuanced sensation or widening, releasing through the back of the pelvic floor, let the thighs turn in, heels, toes go away from center. Thighs in, toes apart. Take a little time to reconfigure. So find internal rotation through the femurs. Yep, and resituate so the pelvis is aligned over your weight-bearing support of the knees and thighs. Good, and that internal rotation, for many folks, you'll feel more width, more widening or releasing sensations between the sit bones. Last few moments, If you need to turn to the opposite cheek, go ahead and turn your head to the second side. And at the end of your exhalation, then start to press down through shins, arms, hands, finding your way out. And you can choose whether you want to finish class in a supported child's pose. So you can take your bolster into the sit bones for support, chest for support, and rest there. You could also roll your way over and come to constructive rest, resting on your back. So trusting your choice, making sure that you feel supported in your choice, that you have whatever props that you want. Maybe a few horse sighs, horse lips, yawns, sounds, whatever helps you to settle in and receive a moment of stillness. Enjoy how you're relatively centered, lots of asymmetry and twists through class today. And now you're back to midline, back to center. So perhaps connecting the inhale through the central channel, feeling the breath come in through your nose, down through the back of the throat, into the lungs, belly, pelvic bowl, and then it washes back out. Releasing bottom to top, full exhale. Maybe 2 or 3 more conscious breaths, inhaling midline downward. Exhaling root upward. Last one with the imagery and full volume, kind of sipping in the last bit of breath that you can get, and then surrender it, let it go. And at the bottom of that exhale, let yourself pause. Truly let go for the next few seconds, that there's no wrong way to breathe or right way to breathe. Shifting from doing to non-doing. Being. And let your senses start to come slowly back up to the surface. Noticing the sounds you hear, inviting gentle movement. Finding your way eventually to seated. And as you find your way upright, feel free to bring your hands to any self-touch placement or self-hold or mudras that you like best. Spending a few more moments lingering with gratitude that you made this space for yourself, that you took this time. Maybe enjoying how your state or sensations have changed from when we first started. Letting yourself trust what feels tangibly pleasant or improved, like, oh, that is real in this moment, that feels different. Trusting that as we pay attention to what's pleasant, as we attune to what's better, it's like saying, yes, please, more of that, sign me up. It actually registers in our brain better if we let ourselves absorb it for a moment consciously. So when you feel your next breath come in, full sincere gratitude, easy exhale, maybe bowing head to heart. Our practice is complete for today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and reach out anytime with questions.